Got the second one. A lot of phones going off.
Apples, guys.
Therefore, take your back. Just pick up more.
Fancying this one today, Steve?
It's not happening today. We've got 13, 14, 15 athletes coming for training camp tomorrow, so we'll get a tips video out today, and then me and Jack on it tomorrow with the rest of the guys. So Ioq 3, we've got 3 rounds of DT every 4 minutes. And there's 5 kind of sets of the 3 rounds as you go through, and the weight gets increasingly heavier as you go. So you've got 3 rounds of DT at 43 and 30 kilos, then 3 rounds of DT at 61 and 43, another 3 rounds at 70 and 48 kilos, another 3 rounds at 84 and 59 kilos, and then an AMRAP of rounds at 93 and 66 kilos. And you have a 4 minute window to complete each set of 3 rounds. And the first question most people are asking is, if I finish, for example, 3 rounds of DT at 43 in under 4 minutes, can I start the next set? And yes, you can. What do you think about that workout?
I think that it's one of them where you're probably either going to love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
So do you love barbell stuff? If you do, you're going to love this workout. If you don't, yeah,
Screwed.
it's going to be pretty tough.
And it's interesting with that, with the Ioq 2, with the dumbbell, a lot of dumbbell pulling, and then gymnastics pulling, and we've got, I know there's a bit of pressing like we're going the overhead, but predominantly another pulling.
Yeah, it's been a lot of past 3 workouts. There's always been like a bit of posterior chain in there. Grip, you know, has been another big one for all 3 of them really.
Yeah.
Still not seeing any squats as such.
Giving us some clues maybe what can come out next week.
Definitely.
The squatters and those small guys, it's going to come eventually.
It's got to come round.
Yeah, so thinking of the workout, obviously you've got 4 minute windows to do each part. I think what you've got to be aware of and what you'll be careful of is not getting too excited and starting really quick. Probably not many of us have done DT, or the complex of DT at the first bar, 43 and 30, for a long time. So it's just going to feel super light at the beginning, and just be aware of it. Obviously you having a bit of adrenaline starting the workout, it feeling super light, and then just going kind of like all in from the beginning. A good thing to remember, okay, when you finish the 84 kilo bar, you'll have done 144 deadlifts, 108 hang power cleans, and 72 shoulder to overhead before you even touch the 93 kilo bar. Yeah. That's a lot of reps. How many reps is that in total?
324?
324.
Yeah.
324 reps before you get to the heavy bar.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind when you start in that first weight. Even the second bar is lighter than RX DT. It only gets the RX weight on the 3rd round. So just kind of pace, but obviously not too much that first bar. Make sure you're not getting yourself too uncomfortable. Make sure that point starts hitting on kind of like the third and 4th bar.
How long do you reckon people are going to be finishing that 84 kilo bar? Do you have a rough?
Yeah, so we've been in, a couple of athletes have done it, and they've got to the last bar, guys that are strong. And I think it'll be close. I think you'll maybe have 60 to 90 seconds spare. So finishing the 4th bar at around about 14, 30, 15 minutes.
Yeah. And you have up till 16 minutes to finish that 84 kilo bar, don't you?
Yeah. And then up until then, the 20 minutes on the last bar.
Yeah.
So I think the guys and girls that are kind of looking at sanctional level, just be prepared to have, 4 or 5 minutes is a lot of time stood up, and you've been stood over the same bar for 15 minutes beforehand, but on the same weight, 4 or 5 minutes. Just be aware that you could be on that bar for a long time.
So like a few kind of key things that you should already be thinking about is kind of maybe where you're going to break the rounds up, how you can spend as little time under tension as possible, because obviously things that you're probably thinking that are going to go are your grip, you know, your traps, your shoulders as well. So you want to kind of save them in the early rounds as much as possible for those later rounds. So things that like that includes, you know, breaking up the hang power cleans. How would you do that?
So I think obviously the round of DT is 12.96, and you kind of picture that as the start and the end of the round. So what I would look to do is, after you've gone through a full round or a round and a half, start picturing the round starting with 4 hang power cleans. Then you do your 6 shoulder to overhead. Then maybe 11 deadlifts, drop 1, and then 5 hang power cleans. And after that 5th hang power clean, then take a bit more of a rest. So you're getting your big rest in between the hardest part of the workout, which is going to be the hang power clean. And then it's open then to also have an extra rest in between the 6 shoulder to overhead and the bar dropping before you start your deadlift. So there's 2 main areas there where you might put an increased rest period after the 6th shoulder to overhead, and then in between like rep 5 and 6 the hang power cleans. Also, if you get yourself a decent rest there after 5 hang power cleans, then you pick the bar up, you do your 4, and it stays there on. If you're shoulder to overhead, you don't have to do that extra rep to get it up there.
For the hang power cleans as well, what sort of technique would you do?
Especially light on the lighter bars, the earlier bars, I'd look to do that kind of the hip bounce hang power clean. Some people either like just really good at that, other people might need a bit of practice. I think it's worth just kind of dialing that in, especially for the first, second and potentially third bar. Just save a little bit of your grip and your posterior chain and your traps as well on just that pull to get it round onto your shoulders. If you can just get that bounce and that little bit of a whip, like when you come to do an 84 and 93 or the 4th and 5th bar, you'll have a little bit more in you to be able to use a bit of glute strength and get it round.
So like key things to do before the workout, definitely loosen off that front rack, you know, make sure it's feeling nice and good. Ideally so you can get an empty bar resting on your shoulders. That's just going to give you forearms, you know, they're going to need less time to recover before you pick it up again.
It's important. I think what a lot of people forget is obviously your grip's working here on the deadlifts and the hang power cleans, but if there's a bar placed through like your fingertips and there's a lot of pressure coming through your wrist, then there's a lot of tension here for your forearm. There's no chance really for blood to keep flowing and escape and kind of flush around. So a nice looser front rack position will just help kind of, you know, flush around when you're going through those shoulder to overhead or pausing on your chest in between any hang power cleans. Things that you can do movement wise for that, or areas to kind of stretch out. Pecs and traps often cause kind of like that front rack to be down on fingertips. Obviously there's the obvious ones of lats and triceps, but what a lot of people miss is if the pec and the trap gets tight, then that also encourages that front rack to be kind of like that fingertip grip, which is probably going to come around and bite you later on in these rounds.
I think the other one that probably people think about a little bit less but still worth kind of mobilising a little bit more is the external rotation for your deadlift. So being able to comfortably switch the overhand and hand grip through rounds. Again, you know, if you just keep it the same way all the time, one side's going to get a little bit more pumped than the other, then you probably find the grip goes on that side. So being able to swap that will also be really helpful. Exercises for that?
I think firstly is just getting used to it. Again, that could be limited from a bit of pec tightness. I think for me, I always tend to go left hand for some reason underneath. If I just spent a little bit of time getting used to right arm, and I'll soon adjust. Little quick tips that probably sometimes go about thinking about. Take your thumbs. Seems quite obvious. Have a belt ready for those heavier bars. I probably wouldn't start with a belt on, but when you're having that extra little bit of rest in between those heavier bars, time then to whip it on.
Sweatband. Obviously, as you sweat more, it's going to run into your hands, but if you've got sweatbands on, that's going to stop that from happening. You need to choke less.
And a towel.
Towel
definitely. Handy, just to wipe all the sweat off, keep it stop it from going into the hands. Put chalk on your bar,
Yeah.
another obvious one.
Another one, like for the first IOQ, stretch some feet off a little bit.
yeah.
With all them reps kind of going up onto your toes. Feet are probably going to cramp up, get a little bit pumped, so stretching them off a little bit first is going to stop that. Anything else?
Yeah, plate wise, obviously you can set up all 5 bars if you want. You don't have to do all 5, it's a bit of faffing around, but if you can set up 2 bars and you have someone around that can adjust them with the bar that you're not working on in between. But also make sure the plates and kind of the surface that you're lifting on isn't like a bounce. They're not like the really thick, high temp plates that bounce everywhere. So when you are dropping it in between shoulder to overhead or hang power clean, it's just going to drop. You're not chasing the bar around and spending extra time like readjusting. So just try and get like a space on the floor where it's, if you drop a bar, it's just pretty much going to land in the spot that you dropped it.
And one like this is the ideal. So if you do have a few fans in your gym,
Not spectators.
those as well. Get them kind of pointed at you, just to keep, again, you're going to sweat less, it's going to run into your hands less, it's going to keep you cooler throughout the workout.
You're pretty much on the spot, aren't you?
Yeah, for the whole
20
thing.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to do some hang power snaps like in the first one, move around and double under, and you're moving around a little bit. You literally just stood on the spot. And that's probably another kind of thing. If you're on a platform, just try and stop yourself from walking too far away from your bar, because by the time you've walked away from your bar, by the time then you get ready to go back, like you've got an extra few more meters. Just try and keep yourself always in close to the bar. But yeah, I think those are the main things.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit it tomorrow with the guys. We've got a load of athletes coming over, a training camp. There's about 13 or 14 of us.
All sanctional level guys, it should be pretty good to watch, to be fair. And I'm going to make it 5-0.
Do you know what? It's not lying.
Cool.
That was it.
Thanks guys.